Hi, my name is Annette Lawler, founder Lion People Global. Welcome to our next episode of M&A Talks, our Ask the Expert style of interviews on the topic of mergers and acquisitions for the localization industry. As always, we have our expert Olga Blasko. Welcome, Olga. How are you?
Thanks, Annette. I'm fine. How are you?
Great. Olga, we've had a couple of these interviews now. We've shared our knowledge. So maybe today, if we can focus a little bit on the buyer and some of the considerations from a buyer's standpoint that you might need to think about in this situation.
Okay. So, yeah, buyer. I mean, being on the buyer side is something that I did for many years, and obviously, one of the main things, I guess, is to really understand why you want to acquire companies, because it has to be related to who you are and where you want to be as a company. So you need to really understand your vision and the strategy, and the acquisitions need to fit somehow into that. And of course, as a buyer, you will want to have clarity on all of that, because otherwise, I mean, you might end up making some acquisitions that you might regret, right? Mm-hmm. So you need to really understand, not only in kind of getting the return on investment, which is this kind of buzzword that is kind of used all the time. I want to get a good return on investment. Well, what does that mean? It's not so much only based on the financial performance, but that acquisition actually not only fits but enhances your entire value of offering as a company. And I think that, paired with that, you have I want to get the best possible deal. I mean, the best possible deal financially, but the best possible deal in acquiring the skills and, the operational synergies that I wanted, or the client portfolio that I wanted. But there needs to be that clarity on, why is it that you are so inclined to start on an acquisition strategy, or to acquire a certain particular company at a specific point in time, because timing is also very important.
Mm-hmm. So there's an element of psychology involved in that, really, isn't there, from a buyer's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, there is having the financial capacity to do that, but also you need to have an entire team on the buyer side, whether that's complemented by the board or an investment banker or private equity investors, that everybody understands why the acquisition strategy is this one and not that one, and what differentiates you from the competition based on how you not only grow organically, but the acquisitions that you make and how you make the most of them.
Mm-hmm. So really it's an exercise of thinking, and maybe you could go through some of the elements of that, but where are you now, and where do you want to be? What is your vision really as a buyer? Exactly.
So I mean, the acquisition strategy needs to be very much aligned with the company strategy. So it needs to be aligned with your vision, the vision that you have, where you want to be. I mean, you hear companies saying they want to double in size, or they want to treble in size in a period of time, and that they want to achieve certain kind of financial objectives that they have agreed with their own investors or with their own board. You need to really understand where and how you're going to invest as a company. So I mean, making acquisitions is an investment, but there are other investments that are being made. So obviously those investments need to be compatible, and the combination of all of those needs to be really, really good. You need to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, in the kind of the typical SWOT analysis, and you need to understand, do you want the acquisitions to complement your weaknesses, or to actually work towards opportunities that you have detected, and do you want an acquisition to also stop a threat from the competition? Sure. So I mean, it needs to really kind of go hand in hand with whatever it is that you want to do as a company. And this is an important question, because as you know, Annette, some of the people that we have been speaking to, they might come and they might say, I know I want to diversify, but I don't know what to buy. So I mean, they may come with something very specific in their minds, and once we look into what the company's strategy is, we might be recommending a completely different acquisition strategy. So sometimes it's very hard to get to that point of clarity unless the strategy of the company has been discussed and has been agreed, if you like, among the main stakeholders.
Sure.